So that brings us to think even further. The role of companies. So the role companies are always double-faced. One side is angel, the other side is the devil. On the angel side, they offer job opportunities, they offer utility and diversity of consumption for consumers. They generate tax to government and community. But of course, they generate money for those investors and shareholders. But on the other side, they may exploit workers, they may sell fake and shoddy products to consumers, they may evade tax dueable to the government, and they also pollute the water, pollute the air, etc., etc. So, legal and ethical responsibility of companies now are becoming all the hot issues. And this is not only because not because the governments are being so much visionary, but rather these movements and the demand on the improved performance of companies are really derived from the big undercurrent, which is consumers' rights. So consumers are being more educated, and they also are more informed. They also have choices. So based on this bigger backdrop, companies will have to react. Now, the consumer movements can be traced back to the early 60s. So the first organization, that is called the International Organization on Consumer Unions, was set up in Hague in 1960. And most notably is the JFK bill. So John Kennedy proposed in a Bill of Rights for consumers. That really outlined the four foundations for consumer rights. JFK was a Democrat, he was more pro to consumers. Then there was a famous guy, which is now considered to be a hero in the United States, and he was also running for the presidency versus Obama. His name was Ralph Nader. So Ralph Nader was considered to be a nerd, a very weird person, lived in isolation, pretty much detached from the community and even from classmates. But this man, he was so much addicted to discover product problems. And his first target was the auto industry. So then he produced a book, which is called Unsafe at Any Speed. Meaning, safety has little relationship with how fast you drive, because the car has inherent defect. And this man was an enemy to all big companies. So the big car companies, they threatened him, and they bought girls for him. But he rejected. So he became the guy that fired the first shot. And now in China, 10 years ago, we had a young man called Wang Hai, who was almost doing the same. It was considered to be nasty by all companies, but Wang Hai deliberately go and buy fake products and then go to the consumer society or bring them to the port, say, okay, double the pay. So he bought fake product as a business and seek legal remedy. And now he's running a very big firm doing all this. So, now all of you know March 15. March 15 is what? Consumer Day, Consumer Rights Day. And that was because also JFK announced the Bill of Rights on March 15th. Then in 1985, United Nations promulgated the UN guideline on the consumer protection. So that means the whole world has reached a consensus. It was not only something a luxury in those developed economies, but on a worldwide basis. So consumer rights protection had a consensus. Of course, the more developed economies, they are more advanced in consumer protection. North America and also EU. So EU produced the product liability, which was called the Strasbourg Convention in late 70s. And then they also produced a number of directives, which is called an EEC order, or now EU order, EU directive for consumer protection. They go so far as, okay, if you have the leash of the toy dog, how long should that be? So Chinese companies still perceive this as a non-tariff barrier or technical barrier, but they are doing it. And Chinese consumer protection law first appeared in early 90s. So in 93, China promulgated the consumer protection law, which was really history-making. Because if you look at the consumer rights listed in this law, we had 13 rights for consumers, which was even more comprehensive than what is available in those developed economies. So this law was really contributed by good scholars who knows consumer rights. But because those scholars are more detached from the reality, the execution or proper implementation of this law is really still very weak.